Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Theta Talks. My name is Maisha, and we are here to give you a little bit of insight into theta healing and how it may be able to help you. It might give you a little bit of curiosity in terms of what it can do for you. So, this evening, we're doing something a little bit new. We've invited a guest speaker, and I see her already. So I'm just going to invite Michiko. Can you hear me?
Hello.
There
Yeah.
we go. Okay, good. We had a little bit of, I
Hi.
don't know if you realized last week, a little bit of a
Glitch or
technical issue. I couldn't invite Sanaya. She couldn't invite me. It was one of those things. So we skipped last weekend. And we're pretty good about Data Talks. No matter where we are around the world, we make an effort every Tuesday,
Tuesday.
whether it's 8:30, sometimes we adjust. So welcome, Michiko. I was just telling
Hello.
everybody that, we're doing something a little bit different. You are our first guest.
Thank
And
you. I'm
this is
so
like
honored.
maybe our 26th, I think, episode, and it's just been Sinai and me, so it's nice to have and welcome you here. So our topic for this evening is the healed parent, and you
Mhm.
are this is your niche in theta healing, right? You're working with moms, you're working with parents. So this would be, great to pick your brain on it. So just a little bit intro, Michiko, you are a student, you are a theta healer, you are also an instructor,
Mhm.
right? And you
Mhm.
have a business. So would you like to do a little bit of an intro?
Yes, would love that. Thank you, Maisha. And hi, Rosa Maria and Gabriela. And to all our viewers, our 800 viewers. It's our So hi everyone. Thank you for joining us here tonight. I met Maisha 10 years ago, maybe almost 10 years ago now.
Wow.
And I was single as single can be. No, so I'm kidding. So if you had told me like 10, 15 years ago that I would even be a mom, I would not believe you because
Mm,
back then I was still like, even manifesting my soulmate. So like this dream of being a mom was so far off. Like, ugh, is it even possible? How do I even get there? So I remember having attended like even the basic theta class, about my partner,
mm,
when you practice, right? So my classmate then was him feeling like he was not a wanted baby.
right.
And mine was like, I wanted to be a mom, like, at 25, I really wanted to manifest this. So it was, as you know, it will be serendipitous in many
Mm.
ways when you're partnered with someone. So I'm like, wow, here's a partner whose parents might have, or he felt like he was never wanted, and here I am, like, I want my own baby,
Right. So you were
right?
partnered up during class.
Yeah, we were partnered up during class. So even that, I'm like, oh my gosh, getting goosebumps just remembering that almost 10 years ago now. So yeah, so I found Theta Healing in a healing clinic 10 years ago in their previous clinic in BGC.
Mm,
And it's been a very tremendous and wonderful journey. I just said, like, you know what? It's become priceless to
mm. You
invest in.
manifested your partner.
I've manifested my partner,
Yeah.
a partner whom, like, I don't know, was it like the second date that he just said, I want kids. So that was amazing because it's one of those things that you might zigzag, scoot around, like, oh, I don't want to be freaky and, like, tell them maybe later on. But
Right.
we were aligned in that. But just to say that, yes, of course, through the years of investing in myself in that, I said, like, it's priceless because the way I am parenting my child, I'm like, I can only imagine if I didn't do that work and how
Yeah.
I could still be triggered, right? So like there
So
will be
so
some.
just yeah, so just a little bit of background. So you came in, like you were saying, with wanting to, you were in a relationship thing and wanting to manifest your soulmate, and you've
Yeah.
always had kind of had this desire to have kids. It was just something that was inherent in you,
Hmm.
right? And so once you manifested your soulmate, it kind of this was kind of the next. phase in your journey, right? And
Yeah.
so, was it something that was easy for you to have a child next, or was it like, which part of this journey did you find a little bit difficult going from having issues in just in general to kind of moving into, oh, now this is the next stage, which is being a parent. Like, how did you kind of see that?
You mean what is like the most difficult part of the
Yeah.
journey in
Yes.
becoming a mom or becoming
Yes.
um so okay so one was that self-discovery, the
Mm,
self-awareness that I had
mm,
to do even like pre-motherhood, right? So
mm,
having that sense of awareness was something that was very key to me
yeah.
at least. And then the whole everything else was smooth. Like I got engaged quickly.
Mm,
I mean, consciously, of course. It's
mm,
like with proper intention. And we were married during the pandemic, so that was also fairly easy.
mm,
I think on the physical level, what was hard, and this is what they say, like postpartum depression typically arises is when your expectation was not met, right? So I
mm.
was like expecting and envisioning like um, a vaginal birth. So
Okay.
as an aside, they say all births are natural or normal.
Mm.
So anyway, you know this because I messaged you, right? Like I ended up in emergency
Yeah.
C-section.
So I
So
guess I guess what was the it's there's a pre
motherhood,
Michiko, right?
yeah, right,
Pre-motherhood, right? And then that's when I guess it's more about when you're planning to conceive,
right,
when you're kind of getting into that idea of, oh, you know what, I may want to have a child. And I think that's
right.
when all of these kind of what we call triggers or activations start,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because prior to that, you were just looking for your soulmate. Now you want to have a child, and with that comes your own baggage
bag
and, stuff
of
relating to that. Like parents, right? Like, for example, how your parents raised you
a different
was,
set of bag of lessons and triggers.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So, how do you
absolutely.
think that, having you were very lucky, that, or we were very lucky, we had this before we had children, right? So,
Yeah,
as in theta healing or these tools,
the
right?
tools.
How do you think that helped you become that more of that healed parent versus
Mm.
anybody who didn't really have that?
So I really subscribe to the idea of how we are here to learn our
Mm,
lessons. And so for my own healing, I had to I had to shift a lot of between my mom and I, or my parents and I, right? So I remember
mm,
my mom being like, "Oh my God, did I comment up in your session again?" And I'm like, "Relax, it's normal. It doesn't mean I love you any less. It's just how it is supposed to be because we're learning from each other." So it's from the lens of a daughter,
mm,
and it's also a lens now as a parent because I'm like, whether I'm triggered or not, I'm like, okay, what is the situation teaching me, and what does my daughter want to take from this? Like, what can I impart with her, right? So it's even being more conscious about
conscious, yeah,
the words I use,
yeah.
like the downloads, or like if I were to still carry my previous insecurities, she will carry
Mm.
on that, right?
So
So
awareness is something which a healed parent is
definitely
has that quality, right? They're aware. I guess our parents didn't know any better and didn't have the
the
tools,
tools.
right?
No, I
Versus
think
like
like
I remember that's the tough parenting age, right?
yeah,
Where
yeah.
they were all like, oh, if I make them feel really bad, right?
Hi,
Then
Sai.
they're going to be motivated or inspired to do better versus nowadays it's different, right? Now we want to kind of encourage our children, give them the confidence and the ability to make decisions themselves,
Yeah, and I
right?
think it's a simple thing. Like maybe people are asking, what do you mean? How's a self-aware or conscious parent? Physically, I imagine myself like, okay, in this situation, I hit the pause button, you know,
Okay.
and like the ability to just who take a step back and how would you want the situation to
Mm,
be, right? I
yeah.
mean, sometimes there might be moments that are harder than like
Do
others.
you have an easy example that our audience can kind of relate to, maybe in terms of what you've experienced recently?
So, well, I have a 3.5-year-old, and for those who might remember or still go through this, they fight bedtime, like the
Mm.
bedtime routine, right? And you're there, like trying to be the gentle parent.
I'm afraid that, it's not just at 3. I have an 11-year-old who wants to fight bedtime too.
Oh my God,
So
never
just
ends.
preparing you for that. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
And personally, I did sleep training, and that was good for the time that, at least for my family, but then that was also out the window for us. So we go through like 30 minutes to 2 hours of bedtime, and we're like, oh my God, it's time to sleep. But anyway, so I think recently that was all uh, fighting bedtime, and you're tired, you're exhausted from the day. But I remember having to like imagine, and like it's kind of like I imagined myself watching this scene,
Mm,
and like I said, okay, wait, how would I have better managed this if this with this situation? So
right.
it gave me the opportunity to pause in my mind and
Mm-hmm.
say, like, I don't want to regret this moment. I don't want anything that would make me
Versus maybe getting
shouting,
frustrated or
frustrated.
like angry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it happened quite a lot. Like, and I mean, I love my mom. There would be times when she did not mean things and like just
Mm,
out of spite, and she'd have to come to my room and say sorry. And while I appreciated the apology, the moment's done, the moment's
yeah.
over. What happened had happened
Mm,
already. So, I mean, for me, if I could minimize these things that I would regret anyway, I
right.
would.
Mm,
And so that's what I mean by a stop button or a pause.
mm-hmm.
Just being like, okay, let's not regret this moment. You're tired, but bedtime will be over in 30 minutes. And what's the worst thing after that, right? Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't get to do my skincare routine tonight, but
Yeah.
at least there's no nagging regret. And
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that I work on with women or with my clients about the guilt, the mom guilt
Mom
that we
guilt.
feel, the
Yeah. Yeah.
feel. And actually, it's acknowledging that that can get real. But what I've also come to learn and now share is that there are actually two types of guilt.
Mm,
There's the valid guilt, and
yeah.
then there's the mom guilt slash conditioned guilt.
Right.
So valid guilt comes up when there's a disconnect with your values.
Mm,
Like, for example, in that situation, had I shouted, or I mean, I don't hit my daughter, but like, have I just hit
yeah.
her out of the moment, out of anger, then I would deeply regret that, and that's
Mm,
a valid guilt because I value love and family and respect and not hitting, right? But
yeah.
what if my anger just got the best of me? So then that would be like valid guilt.
Yeah.
The mom guilt that we all or typically feel is like, oh, I didn't see my daughter because I worked the whole day.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the mom guilt where that kicks in. So
Mm,
that's the one that's going to be like, okay, acknowledged and can easily be shifted.
yeah.
But when the valid guilt comes out, that's when we know that we're not aligned. Like, something's off. We may be burnt out, or something else.
So with these two guilts, you still need to kind of address it and work on it regardless, right?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. And you're saying that it's possible to do that, right? It's just that where it's coming from is different.
Mm-hmm,
One is
mm-hmm.
coming from the present situation versus our ancestors or our parents, a lot of them didn't really have their own goals and dreams and they gave them up for us, right? So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, because our parents did that, they were very present or what we the idea is they were around, right? Some may not have been present, but they were around.
Mm-hmm,
So, so I mean, being a parent, I think, is such a difficult job, right? Because
mm-hmm.
you don't get there's no class for it, right? There's no kind of before you get married there might be like a preview thing you do, but with having a child, number one, there's no class for it. And I feel like what happens is when you have your child, you end up bringing a lot of the trauma that you experienced during your childhood into the picture, whether
Mm-hmm.
you're aware of it or whether you're not, right?
Yeah.
And when that happens, some of us end up behaving the same way as our parents did, right? We just end up recreating, or we don't realize, oh my God, I sound like my mother, or I sound like my father, right? So so when we talk about the healed parent, right, we are acknowledging that, hey, this is not easy in the first place, right? You already have stuff that you're bringing into this relationship. Plus, you don't know how to deal with
Manage
this
it.
new
Yeah.
child, right? Plus, your hormones are out of whack. Plus, all of this stuff going on, right? So actually, right, I guess there is you who started healing yourself before you started on this journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before you became a wife, before you became a mother. And so I guess it was a little bit more easier for you, do you feel, versus somebody coming in with
A
absolutely
lot
no
of things.
awareness. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I acknowledge that because I've become more aware of what even like, yeah, myself, my own triggers and where they come from. I think that's the
Mm,
one that's most important to me and why I even gravitated towards the modality like theta healing because we actually do the inner work. Like we dig and like, oh wow, where did that come from? That's from this other memory. Or
mm,
if we have you like if you know, like even generational. So what you described earlier, right? It would be like the generational trauma that's
yeah.
never broken and it just keeps going on and on. And
Mm,
actually, I just had a client about how she's not able to receive love, even if like, she can give love. We acknowledge that, oh, her father never even gave this love because he never also received this love. So it's something that's like passed on and she realized that also
So it's blocked because he didn't give her love. So now she doesn't know how to um, receive that
receive.
love because she couldn't receive it from him. And how
Yeah.
is that impacting her life now?
Well, she's also manifesting her own like soulmate. And
Ah, so she can't receive love.
yeah.
So how is she going to bring in another person, or manifest another person in her life when she's kind of like, is it blocked, or how would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the blocks, but like definitely like something that she's identified herself that from the father and then from her father's mother that's also not received.
Mm,
So she's blocking that like flow of love, flow of energy forward.
right, right.
And of course, she also says like, I want to be a mother, and like
Mm.
similar to my story, right? Like, of course, being a mother, and also if you wanted like a partner with that. So, so that
So,
that one.
so by clearing something like that, where you are now working on her to be able to receive love, right? And unblocking that flow,
Mm-hmm.
what could potentially happen for her?
Well, potentially now she could be open
Hmm.
to a love that, she deserves and even feeling worthy of that love. Like she has not had a
Right.
problem of actually attracting. It's just attracting the right one or
Mm-hmm.
retaining that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it could be different for everybody, right? And then you mentioned a second point about, oh, I wanted to bring up to your second point about how we're reparenting also
Mm,
as we
yes.
parent, right? So,
Yes.
like, so it's real. Okay, you're like, yes. So we're reparenting as we parent. So it's that you're reparenting your inner child.
Mm.
So I mean, we joke about this. I mean, I joke about this. How like, oh my gosh, this toy I want to buy, and I'm like, oh, maybe I never got that toy. You know, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, totally.
it's
Like even
shadow.
like you giving your kids all these opportunities, and you're like, because I didn't. Like growing up, I never had after school activities and all those things. And here I am like, why don't you try this? And why don't you do that? And it's because I never had it, and I'm trying to kind of nudge my kids towards
This and
realizing. And
that. Yeah.
And for them, for me, I would think, they should appreciate it and think, wow, such a great opportunity
Yeah.
versus what they're actually feeling, which is, come on, mom, I just don't want to take so many classes, right?
Exactly.
That's not their issue, it's
It's
our
yours.
issues, right?
Exactly.
That
Mm-hmm.
we are kind of imprinting or imposing on them,
Yeah.
right?
And saying that actually, and Maisha, this is something like up your alley about, and I'm still currently learning also the power of like working with our own kids, right?
Mm,
And actually, it's our thing. So like recently, I also had a client who's like, well, we're working with kids under 7, right?
yeah.
So for her, she's like, oh, my kid at 3 is being bullied and doesn't
Mm-hmm.
make friends easily. And I was like, okay, well, do you think that also appears or comes up in your life? And
Mm,
she says like, yes, like it's hard for me to like even like retain friends, right?
yeah, yeah.
So she was open
Mm.
to clearing that and how that's come up with her life in her life. So we have
Okay.
a comment.
Yeah. So we reparent ourselves, but how do we communicate with our parents after that? If they keep doing their things that we don't appreciate at all, how do we
Oh,
allow them around
I
our
have a
kids?
I have a very good example.
Go ahead.
So you know about mom guilt. I
Mm.
recognize that my mom guilt would come up when my daughter doesn't eat.
Okay.
Whether health, she's a good eater, like she eats fruit, she eats whatever, but it's like, especially, but I guess when she's coming from a play date and they ate there and I get triggered that she doesn't eat the dinner or the healthy dinner that we have. And it came up recently, and again, that my mother said, oh, Michiko, you were a terrible eater. And I was like, wow, thanks. Well, now I know. So my mom apparently had a hard time, like at least feeding me, or I don't know, being
Mm.
fed. And I would stay hours on end at the table. And she would say, like, oh, repeatedly, Michiko one time even had food in her mouth. And I was like, what you did? When I went to sleep, and I was like, you did brush my teeth? Like, how? No, but so anyway, just to say, hi, Gabriella. So it came up recently when so my mom would get triggered when my daughter doesn't eat at
Doesn't
their
eat.
house. Okay,
Mm.
so you see, like Sunday lunch, she doesn't eat. And I was like, oh my God, she's passing it on to her. And
Right.
then one time that actually she ate and like, fed herself. And then my mom goes, good girl. And I was like, Mom, good girl for what?
Mm.
For, I mean, good girl for eating? No, so I mean, just recognizing that, I mean, we're not good persons, good girls just because we ate, right? So,
Right.
to answer your question, and yes, that's just a very, very like precise example, but I think now we can really talk to them with
Our
respect, right?
parents. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
to our parents with respect. And I think should they at least also recognize the boundaries that hey, they're the grandparents here, they're not here to teach them, but we
I think
can
that's the
actually
key, boundaries, no?
boundaries. Yeah, so with my parents, we've set very clear boundaries, like
Mm.
not posting pictures without our permission, especially online.
Right.
That's having to teach them what they were not taught, like because they're
Mm.
like, oh, Facebook, I can just post whatever. And we're like, well, now we're teaching them that, oh, kids might want to have privacy, they don't want to
Yeah.
have their whole lives on Facebook, right?
Mm.
Especially like 10 years old, and then a tita comes like, I know you did this, and you're like, so anyway, that's one. um as newborn, we were also very strict, like no wearing perfume because it sticks on the smell and the clothes
Mm.
for days. So I think it's a matter of being able to say we love you and we love and thank you for the support. However, this is something like we'd like to implement now as parents, and having that adult conversation with them. I mean, more or less works. It's just like for them to understand. But
I think what comes in is that idea of I have raised
right,
kids, right? You've
right,
married my child, or you are my child,
yeah.
right? And are you trying to tell me that
How to
what
parent? Yeah,
how to parent?
yeah,
I think Gabrielle's probably coming from that standpoint, right?
right.
Where it's like,
I raised
you
you.
don't want to offend them,
Yeah,
right? But you want to also keep your boundaries and keep kind of that consistency, right, in terms of your kids. And I think that gets a little bit
There, yeah,
tricky,
and
right? Or
challenging. Yeah,
challenging,
yeah,
right? To do that. And I think one of what you said was really key, like having boundaries, but also understanding
where they're
that
coming from.
where they're coming from,
Yeah,
they're not coming from a standpoint where they want to, clamp down and or act as if they know better, right? It's just they're coming from all those years of parenting experience and saying that, my mom just showed up into my life.
I know. I
But
actually just
just
checked the
on time, just on time. Hi, mom.
hi.
Okay, so anyways,
We love them. We love you. But
right? So I guess it's like they don't want to also feel like that what they did was wrong also as parents, right?
yes,
So it's
exactly.
about also finding
A balance.
a balance, right?
Yeah.
And trying to keep harmony. It's like, what you did work, but we don't live in a time where, there's social media. Times are different now. And, we have these resources that tell us that this is
Right.
actually how to raise a healthy, it's not like you did it wrong, but you know what?
Exactly.
The resources and the research actually say this, that they have
Yeah.
actually done. And when you come in from a standpoint where it's not you're a bad
Objective.
parent, it's
Yeah,
more
yeah.
objective.
Yeah.
I think people are going to be more open to it
To that. I
and
agree.
understanding of it, right? Versus I think the approach of it is also very important, and also not getting offended if they aren't
And cutting
able
them off.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, and cutting them some slack. If like
Yes,
if this doesn't
exactly.
kill you, then it's
Yeah.
fine. Like I
Yes.
to your point about like, oh, some research, right? Like
Mm,
nowadays they actually would what do you say, advocate for when you sleep it's on your back. But
mm.
actually in the 80s it was like sorry, is it on your chest and then not on the back, right? But I
You
think
shouldn't sleep on your chest because you could suffocate. I think that was it
so
for
that was
babies,
it
right?
for that was it. And
Yeah.
but now it's like, oh, back is best or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so like my parents were like, "Whoa, but we put all of you in your tummy." So
Yeah.
it's like yeah, so you're right about showing up like, objectively like some data or research.
Right. And it's not like we're making it up just to make you feel bad, or it's not that, we're telling you that you didn't know any better. You just didn't have the resources that we did now.
Yeah, or like how we observe nap times and it's
Yeah.
not just about, oh, she's just having a meltdown and that's it. Like, oh, there's
Yes.
actually
Yeah.
science to this that this age of a baby needs 3 naps.
Yes. Right.
You're
Exactly.
right.
So I think that is also important to understand. And, I think also what helps is you are also healing that part of you that feels that, they're making me feel like I'm a failure, I'm not good enough
Mm,
because, they're undermining what I am saying, so that again goes back to being that healed parent, right?
yeah,
Where it's not about just because they're disagreeing with it means I'm a failure. I'm not a good mom. I think
right.
sometimes it gets back to that.
Yeah. And
Um,
actually, so for me as a healed parent, I've also become a healed child
mm,
because I mean, it's cliche, but I'm on that side where my relationship with my mom improved. Like, oh
yeah,
my God, full circle. And I was like, oh, thank you, mom. And so I think for that balance and also reassurance that they did their best and that
yes,
knowledge at the time, and also we're also
yeah.
doing our best. So it's a matter of just respect also in that ways, but
And I love
also
that, what you're saying. Not only are we healed parents, but we end up, when we work on ourselves, as healed children,
children.
right? That's also very important.
Yeah.
To bring up. Um, it's 9 already. I mean, that was fast. I just wanted to, this is a topic where we've literally hit the surface of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the good news is Michiko and I are planning to do a workshop together called The Healed Parent. Yay, okay.
Yay!
So this will give you an opportunity to, get kind of your feet in the water and understand and even get some healing done in terms of being the best version of yourself as a mother or as that healed child that you can be. Right? Michiko, you want to add anything to that?
It's gonna be I mean a good, is it one session or two sessions? One session, right? We've decided it's yeah. So we're excited to share this with you together. It's a different format, but we'll hit the right points anyway of awareness, also discovery, and like really how we can move forward now to
And
be
healing. Yeah,
and healing
absolutely.
and like being a present person and a present parent, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, so exciting, exciting. The dates will be out soon. We are doing it in September, right?
Mm-hmm.
So keep the lookout on that. It will be really great. And you know what? You don't have to be a parent in order to join either. You can already start your journey on healing that child, right? And be that healed child. So when you do have your own children, that it will be very easy
And
for
worth it.
you
Yeah.
and worth it. Yeah, super cool. So, Michiko, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Maisha.
joining me, right? I think we
Yeah.
had a lot of cool insights and information, and I look forward to teaching this workshop with you.
Thank you to everyone who's joined. Krish, Mina, Samina, Gabriela, Reshma, Tharani. Oh, hi. And
That's my
Mace. That's your
mom.
mom. Yay. And Sai. Hi, Tita, Auntie. So, I mean, just want to say this is a full circle moment for me. Maisha's been my healer since 2015, and so amazing and honored to be here with you, Maish.
And I'm so happy that you are where you are and what you're doing. It's beautiful and
Yay.
helping and inspiring women.
Yeah. Shout out
Okay.
to you and Sanaya.
Uh, all right. So guys, we will catch you next week for another Theta Talks. See you soon.
See you. Bye.